The afternoon sun hung low over Willow Creek Lane, casting golden streaks across the manicured lawns and pastel houses that lined the suburban street. It was a quiet day, the kind where the hum of a distant lawnmower was the only sound breaking the stillness until the piercing scream shattered everything. I dropped the wrench I'd been using to fix the kitchen sink and bolted out the front door, my heart pounding in my chest like a drum. The sight that greeted me stopped me cold. My 14-year-old daughter, Lily, crumpled on the grass near our mailbox, her hands clutching her swollen, pregnant belly. Her face was a mask of agony, eyes squeezed shut, cheeks streaked with tears and flushed an angry red. Standing over her, clutching a canister of pepper spray like a trophy, was Margaret Voss, the HOA president. Her sharp voice cut through the air, dripping with venom. "Your father should have paid up months ago, girl. This is what happens when you defy the rules." I didn't think I just moved. My work boots thudded against the pavement as I sprinted toward them, rage boiling in my veins like wildfire. Lily's sobs grew louder, her small frame trembling as she gasped for air. "Dad," she choked out, her voice breaking. "It burns," she sprayed me. Margaret's cold blue eyes flicked to me, and for a split second, I saw a flicker of panic beneath her smug exterior. "She shouldn't have been out here," she snapped, stepping back as I dropped to my knees beside Lily. "Delinquent accounts don't get access to community spaces." I was enforcing policy. "Policy," I roared, cradling Lily's head as she whimpered. "She's a kid, Margaret. A pregnant kid on bed rest, and you attacked her over a damn bill." My hands shook as I brushed her dark hair from her swollen face, trying to wipe away the chemical residue with my sleeve. Her breathing was ragged, and her hands tightened around her stomach. "Dad," she whispered, her voice barely audible, "the baby. Something's wrong." Before I could respond, a shout came from across the street. Mrs. Aisha Khan, our soft-spoken neighbor who'd lived in Willow Creek for decades, stormed out of her house, phone in hand. "I've got all on video, you monster," she yelled, while VYing the WYC. "You're done, Margaret." Other neighbors began to emerge, drawn by the commotion. Mr. Torres with his cane, the young Gwyn couple peering from their porch. Margaret's face paled, her grip on the pepper spray loosening as she stammered. She lunged at May, didn't mean to hit her so hard. But the lie hung weak in the air, exposed by the growing crowd and the damning footage Aisha clutched. I didn't care about her excuses. I fumbled for my phone and dialed 911, barking our address into the line as Lily's cries turned to shallow, panicked gasps. "Hang on, sweetheart," I murmured, stroking her hair. "Help's coming." Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder as the ambulance screeched into VYEW. Paramedics swarmed us, their voices clipped and urgent. 14, pregnant, third trimester, I told them, my voice cracking. High risk, been on bed rest. Chemical exposure to the face. They loaded her onto a stretcher, her small hand gripping mine until they pulled her into the ambulance. I climbed in after her, my world narrowing to the beeping monitors and her terrified eyes. The ER was chaos, doctors shouting orders, nurses rushing with saline flushes to rinse Lily's eyes. Premature contractions, one of them muttered, hooking her up to and for. "We need to stabilize her fast." I stood helpless by her bedside, watching as they worked to save not just my daughter, but the tiny life inside her. She'd made a mistake at 14, falling for a boy who'd vanished the moment she told him she was pregnant. We'd been gating it together, her shame, the whispers at school, the doctor's warnings about her fragile condition. And now this. Hours crawled by in the sterile waiting room, my phone buzzing incessantly. Aisha had uploaded her video to the neighborhood group chat, and it spread like wildfire. "Did you see what Margaret did? She sprayed a pregnant girl." The text turned to calls reporters, neighbors, even a detective named Carla Ruiz who'd seen the footage online. "Mr. Carter," she said when I finally answered, her tone steady but grave, "we've got officers at the scene. Margaret Voss is in custody. I'll need your statement when you're ready." I barely registered her words. My mind locked on Lily. A doctor emerged at last, her expression tired, but reassuring. "She's stable," she said. "The chemical burns won't cause permanent damage to her eyes, and we've stopped the contractions for now. But the baby's under stress, keeping her for observation." Relief flooded me, though it was laced with dread. I stepped into Lily's room, where she lay dwarfed by the hospital bed, her face still raw and puffy. "Dad?" she whispered, reaching for me. "Is the baby okay?" I squeezed her hand, forcing a smile. "They're watching you both closely. You're tough, kiddo. Tougher than me." Detective Ruiz arrived soon after, notepad in hand. I handed over my own recordings, months of voicemails and texts from Margaret, each one more threatening than the last. "She's been harassing us since she took over the HOA. I told her, my voice low, to keep from waking Lily. Fines for nothing, demands for money we didn't owe. And now this." Ruiz's jaw tightened as she listened. "She's facing assault on a minor and false imprisonment for starters," she said. "With that VY it's open and shut. But I suspect there's more here. We're digging." By morning, Willow Creek was a circus. News vans clogged the hospital parking lot. Margaret's mugshot, her pristine blonde bob, now a mess. Her designer blazer swapped for an orange jumpsuit plastered across every channel. The charges piled up: assault, child endangerment, even reckless endangerment of an unborn child. But the real shock came that afternoon when two HOA board members, Elena Ortiz and Sam Bennett, showed up at the hospital, their faces ashen. "We didn't know," Elena said, twisting a tissue in her hands. "Margaret said you were a deadbeat, that you've been dodging fees for years." We believed her. Sam slid a thick folder across the table. "After that VY we checked the books ourselves. You need to see this." Inside were bank records, hundreds of thousands of dollars siphoned from HOA funds into a landscaping company owned by Margaret's husband, Greg. The emergency assessments she'd imposed tripling our dues overnight were funneled straight into their pockets. Emails revealed a pattern. Families who asked questions like us were hit with fabricated violations and escalating fines. "She's been running this place like her personal fiefdom," Sam muttered. "We're turning it all over to the police." I handed the folder to Detective Ruiz, who whistled low. "This is embezzlement, fraud, maybe even racketeering. The DA's going to have a field day." That night, my old college buddy turned district attorney, Paul Grayson, called me personally. "Jake," he said, his voice heavy, "I've seen the EVY Denke. What she did to Lily is horrific enough, but this financial mess, it's a gold mine of corruption. I'm taking this case myself." The community erupted. An emergency meeting filled the local high school gym. Nearly 300 residents packed shoulder to shoulder. Elena and Sam resigned on the spot, their voices trembling as they apologized. "We trusted Margaret to lead with fairness," Sam said. "Instead, she preyed on us all." Aisha took the mic next, her quiet strength commanding silence. "My family was fined for unauthorized garden plants. The Lopez's got hit for their son's therapy dog. Mr. Grayson Paul's dad was threatened with foreclosure over a cracked driveway at 82 years old. We were too scared to fight back." One by one, neighbors stood, their stories painting a chilling picture of Margaret's reign. A new committee formed that night, vowing to rebuild the HOA from the ground up. I declined to spot Lily needed me more. 5 days later, Lily came home, her pregnancy holding steady. The doorbell rang as I settled her on the couch, and there was Aisha with a steaming dish of biryani, followed by a dozen neighbors bearing casseroles, flowers, and cards. "We failed you," Aisha said, her eyes wet. "This is our apology." The community Margaret had fractured was stitching itself back together, thread by thread. The investigation deepened. Greg Voss was arrested as a co-conspirator, their sprawling home with its custom pergola and imported tile patio seized as EVY Denke. 6 months later, I sat in a packed courtroom, Lily's hand in mine, as Margaret faced sentencing. The judge's voice was steel. "You abused your authority, extorted your neighbors, and assaulted a vulnerable child. 7 years for assault, fraud, and embezzlement, plus full restitution." As she was led away, her head bowed, I felt no triumph, just a quiet release. That fall, we reopened Willow Creek's park, once shuttered by Margaret for renovations that never happened. Kids swarmed the new playground, funded by recovered money, while adults mingled over potluck dishes. Lily sat on a blanket, cradling her newborn son, Ethan, born healthy despite the odds. "Do you hate it here?" she asked, watching our neighbors laugh. I thought of the fear, the fight, the healing. "No," I said. "It took a storm to show us what we're made of." The new sign at the entrance read simply, "Willow Creek, built by us." Margaret, I heard, spent her prison days bossing inmates about cell block decor. Some things never change. But here, in the shadow of her collapse, we did. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.